The evening sky in Willowbrook was painted in shades of orange and pink as the sun dipped below the horizon. The small, quiet town was known for its peaceful streets and friendly faces. But in an old house at the edge of town, something extraordinary was about to happen. Clara, a kind but mysterious woman in her late 50s, sat by her window clutching a small wooden box tightly in her hands. Her tired blue eyes scanned the street below as if she were waiting for someone, or something. For 20 years, she had guarded the box, never letting anyone see what was inside. Down the street, a young boy named Jake, no older than 10, was riding his rusty bicycle. His mother had asked him to deliver some groceries to Clara, as she often did. But today felt different. The air was heavier, and the shadows seemed longer. When Jake knocked on Clara's door, she opened it cautiously. "Come in, Jake," she said softly, her voice trembling. Jake stepped inside, setting the groceries on the kitchen counter. He glanced at the box in Clara's hands. "Miss Clara, what's in the box?" he asked innocently. Clara froze. For a moment, she considered lying, but then she sighed deeply. "Some secrets are too dangerous to share, Jake. But I think it might be time." Before she could say more, a loud knock echoed through the house. Clara's face went pale. "They're here," she whispered. Outside, black SUVs had pulled up, and men in dark suits were stepping out. Their eyes were cold, and their movements were sharp. They were looking for something, or someone. "Jake, listen to me," Clara said urgently. "Take this box. Run out the back door and don't stop until you're far away. Do you understand?" Jake hesitated but nodded. Clara pressed the box into his hands and shoved him toward the back door. As Jake ran into the night, he heard the front door burst open and Clara's voice shouting, "You'll never get it." Jake's heart pounded as he sprinted through the dark woods behind Clara's house. Branches scraped his arms, and roots threatened to trip him, but he held the box tightly against his chest. Behind him, flashlights flickered, and the voices of the men in suits grew closer. "Find the boy. Don't let him escape," one of them barked. Jake stumbled into a clearing where a faint glow caught his eye. On the ground, half buried in the dirt, was a small, glowing crystal. It pulsed softly, as if alive. Something deep inside Jake told him to pick it up. As his fingers closed around the crystal, a strange warmth spread through his body. The light from the crystal expanded, creating a brief flash that seemed to repel the men chasing him. He didn't understand it, but he knew one thing: he had to keep running. After hours of running, Jake found himself at an abandoned train station on the outskirts of town. He crawled into one of the broken-down cars and collapsed, clutching the box and crystal. But he wasn't alone. Clara stepped out from the shadows, bruised but alive. "You did well, Jake," she said, her voice filled with both relief and sadness. Jake looked up, tears in his eyes. "Miss Clara, what is this? Why are they after us?" Clara sighed and sat beside him. "Jake, 20 years ago, I discovered something powerful enough to change everything. This box and that crystal, they're pieces of a Heartstone, an ancient artifact that connects two worlds. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could destroy everything." Jake's hands shook as he held the glowing crystal. "So, why me? Why are you trusting me with this?" Clara smiled softly. "Because, Jake, the Heartstone chooses its protectors. And it chose you." Before Jake could respond, a bright light filled the train car. The crystal in his hand pulsed violently, and the wooden box began to hum. "Jake!" Clara shouted. "Hold on." The world around them exploded in a burst of light, and suddenly, they weren't in the train car anymore. Jake and Clara stumbled onto a glowing forest, where trees stretched into the sky like towers and faint blue fireflies danced in the air. "Where are we?" Jake stammered. Clara's eyes were wide with recognition. "The realm between worlds. We're standing at the edge of something ancient." A figure stepped out from behind a tree, an old man with a wooden staff, his golden eyes glimmering. "I am Eldon, the keeper of this realm," he said in a deep voice. "And you too, carry the fate of both worlds in your hands." Eldon explained that the Heartstone was breaking and that the threads connecting the two worlds were unraveling. If the Heartstone wasn't restored, both worlds would collapse into nothingness. "But who's trying to stop us?" Jake asked. Eldon's expression darkened. "A man named Malrik. He wants the Heartstone for himself, to control both worlds. If he gets it, everything will fall apart." Before they could ask more, dark figures began to close in on them, their shadows flickering in the faint light. "They've found you," Eldon shouted. "Run. Follow the golden light." Clara grabbed Jake's hand, and together they raced through the glowing forest, the crystal and box glowing brighter with every step. Ahead, a faint golden archway shimmered in the air. "Go!" Clara yelled. As dark hands reached out from the shadows, Jake and Clara dove through the archway, and everything went black. The fate of both worlds now rests in the hands of Clara and Jake. Will they restore the Heartstone in time? Or will Malrik's darkness consume everything?